What's up, Clever Masterminds? Cleverboy 86 here, and this is my 2018 year in review. And 2018 was a big year, and it's funny, it feels like it went by so quickly, but as I was preparing for this video and looking through all the vlogs that I filmed last year, I realized just how much I did in 2018, because I did a lot last year. And yeah, so anyways, this is going to be my 2018 year in review. I'm going to recap everything that I did in 2018, and yeah, alright, here we go. So we rang in 2018 at my aunt's house. I got to hang out with my cousins, and then a few days later, my mom and my cousins and I went to this place called the Valley of Fire. And then the next day, I flew to South Dakota, visited my grandparents, got to see their new house, and I also did a faceplant in the snow, which was kind of a recreation of a vlog that I filmed in 2017 when I was living in South Dakota. But that was pretty fun. And then I also went back to the farm, and I also went tubing. But yeah, it got pretty cold in South Dakota, and it was the middle of the winter, but it was pretty cold in South Dakota when I visited. But anyways, then I left South Dakota, and then shortly after that, Dad and I filmed my 1000th vlog. And to celebrate 1000 vlogs, we went up to the top of one of the tallest buildings in Vegas called the Stratosphere, and I shot like a little mini music video, and yeah, so that was a lot of fun. We celebrated 1000 vlogs, which was a huge milestone. And then in February, I did a vlog where I pulled an all-nighter, which was pretty fun. And I actually remember doing that, and that was pretty fun. Like, by the time I went to bed, I was absolutely exhausted, but that was actually a pretty fun night. I also did a Pixar movie marathon, where I watched all 19 Pixar movies in 5 days. And that was actually really fun because I'm a huge fan of the Pixar movies. I grew up watching Pixar movies, so it was great to go back and revisit some of my favorite Pixar films. Yeah, I watched all 19 Pixar movies in 5 days. We also went to this place called the 7 Magic Mountains, which is a pretty cool place to visit if you're in Vegas. They're basically just these big, colorful rocks, but they're pretty cool to look at, and it's just a cool place to visit, so my mom and I went there. And then we also went to Oregon and visited some family there. We went to Portland and walked around Portland for a little bit. I got to hang out with my cousins in Oregon, and we had a lot of fun. Like, we went bowling, and I just got to hang out with my cousins. We had some Nerf gun battles, and yeah, so that was pretty fun. And then in April, my mom and I went to Albuquerque. We did like a little Breaking Bad tour. We visited Walter White's house, Hank and Marie's house, Los Pollos Hermanos, which is actually a real restaurant called Twister's. But then we drove from Albuquerque to Durango, Colorado, and we stayed with a friend of my mom's in this really nice rental home. And yeah, it was a really nice place. It had a great view of the lake, and it was a really nice place. But anyways, so we stayed there for a couple days, and it was just a nice little relaxing vacation. But anyways, then we drove back from Durango to Albuquerque, and then we flew out of Albuquerque back to Vegas. But anyways, then in May, my summer break began. So yeah, my summer break began. I was officially on summer break, and then I went through this phase where, like, I pulled an all-nighter every single night. Like, I'd pull an all-nighter, and then I'd sleep until like 2 o'clock in the afternoon the next day, and then I'd get up and I'd do it again. And this went on for like a week and a half, and I was just pulling all-nighters every single night. And the reason why is because my dad was working overnight shifts, so he wouldn't get home until like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. So I was just hanging out at the apartment by myself, and I just kind of went through this phase where I was like pulling all-nighters every single night. But I finally got my sleeping schedule back on track, because Dad and I were going to be going to VidCon, so I had to get my sleeping schedule back on track. But anyways, I also celebrated my 4-year anniversary on YouTube, so I did a video to celebrate that. But then Dad and I went to Anaheim, California to attend VidCon, and that was probably the highlight of 2018 for me. We went to VidCon, and I got to meet McJuggernuggets, a YouTuber that I've been watching for quite some time now, and I finally got to meet him at VidCon, which was a lot of fun. Yeah, I had a great time at VidCon, and we're definitely going back to VidCon this year. We already ordered our tickets, so we're going back to VidCon this summer. So, anyways, had a great time at VidCon. But anyways, now we're into July. So for July 4th, my mom and I went to the top of a building and we watched some fireworks. So that was really fun. But anyways, then we took a road trip to Sacramento and visited some family there. We also went to San Francisco, and I'd never been to San Francisco before, so that was really fun. Spent a day in San Francisco, and I definitely want to go back sometime and spend a few days there because I had a really fun time. But anyways, we got stuck in traffic on the way back, but anyways, we got back to Vegas, and then I made a mini documentary about my trip to Mexico for the 1-year anniversary, because we went to Mexico in the summer of 2017, so I made like a little mini documentary to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of that trip. I interviewed my mom and my cousins, and I had a great time putting that together. Then we went to San Diego, and we literally went for like a day. Like, we drove to San Diego one day, we spent a day there, and then we drove back the next day. But that was a fun little trip. We went to the beach, and that was pretty fun. Like, we spent a whole day at the beach, so that was really fun. But anyways, then we came back to Vegas, and then I went back to South Dakota, and I got to meet my grandparents' new puppy, and he was a little bit of a troublemaker, but I talked to my grandparents a few days ago, and apparently he kind of mellowed out, and he's actually a really good dog now, and he's a lot bigger, so that's good to hear. But anyways, so spent some time in South Dakota, then I left South Dakota, came back to Vegas, and shortly after I started 8th grade, my last year of middle school. And then in September, I did like a Harry Potter marathon where I watched all 8 Harry Potter movies over the course of one weekend. But anyways, then we went to Arizona, and we literally spent like a day in Arizona. We just went for like I think I had like a 3-day weekend. We drove there one day, and then we spent a day there, and then we drove back the next day. But anyways, that was pretty fun. I got addicted to Fortnite when I was there because my cousin has a PS4, so I played Fortnite on his PS4, and I got kind of addicted to it. But anyways, then we came back from Arizona, and then in October I announced that I'd be ending my daily vlogs in 2019. So I'll talk more about that in my 2019 announcements video, which will be coming in a couple days, so stay tuned for that. But anyways, then my mom and I went camping with a friend of my mom's who was visiting, and we literally went on like the shortest camping trip ever. We drove down to Zion National Park in Utah, and we camped there for one night, and then we got up early the next morning and drove back. And then after we came back, we went to this restaurant, and we had some insane milkshakes. So that was pretty fun. And then in November, I had to get braces, which kind of sucked. I also spent Thanksgiving with my cousins, which I didn't really film that, but that was pretty fun. I got to hang out with my cousins. And then in December, I premiered my documentary, Life Through a Lens, which I'd been working on for about 3 months, but I finally got to premiere it on YouTube, which was a lot of fun. And I also had Dad react to the documentary. But anyways, then I went to Arizona, and we celebrated Christmas, and I had a lot of fun in Arizona. I got to hang out with my cousins, and so we celebrated Christmas. I got the AirPods for Christmas, which was a nice gift from my mom. But anyway, so I spent about a week and a half in Arizona. I also celebrated my birthday there on the 30th, and so I turned 14, and that was pretty fun. We celebrated my birthday. We went out to a nice lunch at Olive Garden, and then we went to the mall, and so that was pretty fun. And then on the night of my birthday, I pulled an all-nighter with my cousins, so that was pretty fun. We stayed up all night. We literally played Mario Karts like all night. But anyways, then we had to drive back to Vegas on New Year's Eve. But we got back to Vegas, and then we rang in 2019. And yeah, so that was a recap of everything that I did in 2018. So 2018 was a big year, but 2018 was a good year, and I have a lot of great memories from 2018. But just to close out this video, I want to show you guys a montage of clips from 2018. It's kind of like a little music video. So anyways, here it is. What's up, Clever Masterminds? Cleverboy 86 here. That's it for 2018.